Welcome to
We're in the pipe. 5 by 5.
How long have you been watching me? Looks like there's a light source over here. Oh. Hey! Looks like the audio's also bad on this. Oh. Got it. I picked up a night shift so that I could talk about this movie. Not really, though. Welcome to the 5x5. You know how this works, and if you don't, 5 minutes of review, 5 minutes of critique. Yes, they're different. And I haven't made one of these in well over a year. And I'm glad that it's FNAF, because it's FNAF. It's pretty popular right now. I enjoy it, although I'm not a big lore nut like most people are. And if you don't know what FNAF is, why'd you watch this movie? I'm just kidding. We're gonna get straight into it so that way I only take up 5 minutes and 5 minutes to make this an evenly 10 to 12 minute video and not any longer. So that's gonna start right about now. So the first part about this is a fun movie. I really enjoyed FNAF. Again, I'm not a big lore nut, and when it comes to the video games, the first one and the third one are good. That's really about it. There are so many games that, yeah, Puritans and purists and people who love FNAF really, really love everything that encompasses it. I can understand that from a lore perspective. I prefer the simpler stuff. I prefer the ghost haunting the animatronics, and we don't really know much about that, and we have the security guard who's just trying to survive, and there's not really any crazy motives or anything. And then, again, probably my favorite part about any of the sequels is the fact that there is a serial killer who was killed inside of one of those animatronics, and he exists. Spring Bonnie, Springtrap, he's really creepy. And so when it comes to this movie, I feel like they got the best of the video games, and then again, the best of like the books. Because there's a lot about this movie where they obviously did their homework for quite a while, and so you see a lot of things from the books that I thought was pretty cool, and you get a lot of the stuff from the video games, and you get some changes here and there from what I do know. Stuff like Michael, played by Josh Hutcherson, who is Michael Schmidt, whatever. He has a sister named Abby, who is played by Piper Rubio, and honestly, my favorite part about this movie is the sibling dynamic. I feel like that's the strongest part about the story outside of the literal haunted animatronics that roam free. To see Mike and Abby kind of like work together or like just be siblings, I like it a lot. Hot take, I don't like Security Breach. I don't care about Security Breach. And when it comes to Vanessa, I also didn't care about Vanessa. Don't really care about her that much. In this movie, though, I really like her. Elizabeth Leo from You played Vanessa in this movie, and I think she did a pretty damn good job. I also enjoy the story. I feel like there's a lot more emotional backstory when it comes to this iteration of Vanessa and what she means for the movie and how she's played about. I just prefer her to the video game counterparts. Again, I don't really like a lot of the video games because I feel like the best ones have already been made way early into the FNAF franchise. But Vanessa was a great treat in this movie, and then there's victims here and there, and there's some subplots here and there that I really like. All of the kids do a really good job when it comes to like portraying the ghosts. And yeah, there's not really a lot of speaking from the kids, but like those who do a great job, and when kids want to be creepy on film, I mean, they're pretty creepy on film. Jim Henson Company's animatronics are probably the highlight of this entire movie because they feel real, look real. There was apparently them moving on set, which was kind of crazy. And this entire movie is essentially a love letter to those who love FNAF, and me, who's not even a diehard FNAF fan, I feel like this was a really fun movie. I had my doubts and my worries, more so after hearing about some leaked things, and when I saw it for myself, which again, I'm not going to get into, but maybe in the critiques. When I saw it for myself, I was kind of like, okay, I'm not too worried anymore because, yeah, this isn't really a scary horror movie. Unfortunately, the fan base for Five Nights at Freddy's is pretty much all kids. I'm a big advocate for PG-13 movies. They have a place, they deserve to exist. We really need that sort of G to R, anything like that, and PG-13 is the way to go. I feel like there's not a lot of PG-13 horror that would really get younger audiences into something a little bit more mature, like Friday the 13th or Nightmare on Elm Street, etc. So PG-13 horror is extremely important, and I feel like Five Nights at Freddy's does a really good job at that. It's not exactly horrific. I would have preferred it to be something a little bit scarier, something a little bit bloodier, something closer to like the Five Nights at Freddy's VHS stuff, or I don't know, something a little closer to like the original lore, because again, once you get past like what the original franchise started with and you get into a lot more of this weird ghost battle, lore, stuff. It's a common problem with a lot of franchises, and especially franchises where the fan base is mostly kids, even if that wasn't the intention originally. The biggest market for horror games and stuff like that are impressionable kids who will think they're really tough and want to play something that's scary so they can impress their friends or really get into it from an early age of just enjoying horror. I know me from a 6-year-old perspective back when I started watching Jaws and stuff like that, I was like, ooh, this is great. So nowadays, that big market for kids to be like, haha, look at this, it's scary, I can play it, I like it, I enjoy it. Or just genuinely getting into horror stuff and being like, wow, this is mine, this is creepy, I like this. But this tangent's already getting way ahead of itself. Regardless, PG-13 horror needs to exist. Yeah, the horror was a little watered down for the sake of like the audience, which is mostly kids. Here's the thing, those review scores and all those very low ratings, compared to the audience ratings, it's like very mixed. If you're a critic or somebody who's really like, I don't think I like this, it's more than likely because the movie's not tailored to you, and I can see it from a perspective of somebody who has no idea what Five Nights at Freddy's is about. I still would enjoy the movie, and I feel like it was very enjoyable for people who didn't know it. Now, if you are a Five Nights at Freddy's fan, this movie had a lot for you. Again, they did their homework, and I do recommend this movie to pretty much anybody. I would watch it again. I have friends who say they wouldn't watch it again, or it's not worth watching again, or going out to buy a ticket. I can understand. But at the end of the day, you know, this is about as good as we were going to get because there was a lot of production hell from when this license was obtained to now, and I think they did a great job with it. We're going to get into spoilers, because I didn't actually get to talk about Matthew Lillard, who I really like, and spoilers are meant for critiques. So let's go there. So let's get into it. Major spoiler right now. Balloon Boy's in it. That's not really the major spoiler, but surprisingly he was in it, and he was really funny every time he popped up. Matthew Lillard is Springtrap, but as of this movie, he's Spring Bonnie. Is there a difference? Yes, there is. Again, if you're not like into the lore or whatever, there's a difference. And so William Afton wears this suit and kidnaps and kills kids and stuffs them into all the animatronics. This is regular Five Nights at Freddy's lore. I don't really have to explain it, but it is part of the movie lore. Michael Schmidt is pretty much just traumatized ever since he was in charge of looking over his brother. And honestly, it wasn't even his fault when his brother got kidnapped by William Afton, because, holy shit, you're a 12-year-old having a little picnic with your parents and your younger brother, and your brother's playing, and literally 2 seconds go by and your brother just got kidnapped. You're 12. What are you supposed to do? Michael's traumatized about this. He's been trying to find whoever took his brother for years. He sees it in his dreams. There's this whole little subplot with do dreams and memories correlate. Then there's Abby, who sees things and draws stuff and has friends that are imaginary friends, but they're not because they're the ghost kids. And Michael's like, he needs money and he needs a job to keep Abby because of child service stuff. So he has a job where he has to spend 5 nights at Freddy's. Word for word, verbatim, they said that in the movie. I'm lying. Vanessa being the daughter of William Afton, there's this whole thing, and yeah, I'm spoiling a lot, but I still don't really want to get into it. I prefer if people just watched it. With that base knowledge, though, I feel like the direction was really good. Again, this movie went through production hell, so there was just so many changes and things like that, but eventually a director, Emma Tammy, would, helm the project, and I think she did a really good job. She did a great job. There's only so much you can do with production hell, and yeah, I feel like she did a great job. When it comes to the movie, again, it's not as gruesome as I wanted it to be, but there was more than I expected, like somebody getting eaten in half and you see half of the body, or like scarred up, bloody face, and a bunch of interesting things. For PG-13, you gotta remember what the guidelines are. PG-13, there are certain restrictions, unlike R movies or even X-rated movies, which aren't that common. Getting away with something like this for a PG-13 movie where most of the fan base is kids is pretty rough, but pretty admirable, and I'm glad that they did it because we needed more horror and we needed more gruesome stuff. There was this whole meme going online about the whole Fast Gang thing, and that's what kind of concerned me because I had accidentally seen a couple leaks online of, Michael and Abby and the other animatronics just kind of like hanging around, building a fort. And I was like, I'm getting very worried now. But I always keep my expectations low when it comes to watching movies, and especially movies that I'm really excited for. So when I went into this, I'm gonna be honest, the Fast Gang stuff did not bother me. If it bothered you, I can understand. We're here for a little bit of a scarier movie, but I don't know, it didn't really bother me. It's about what I expected from Five Nights at Freddy's. And the writing is pretty solid. Emma Tammy was involved with the writing. Seth Kudbeck, I hope I said that right, was also involved with the writing. But most importantly, Scott Cawthorne, who is the actual creator of FNAF and pretty much all the other FNAFs. And as of right now, this is supposedly his last project, but I highly doubt that because, in production field and a lot of stuff like that, you never really know when your last project is, even if you say it is. So he could be back for the sequel or so, but as far as we know, this is his last project, according to online sources. I don't believe it myself. But it was a basic story. It was still serviceable, though. I enjoyed it, so it does what it needs to do. And for PG-13 horror, I feel like it had pretty inventive things as well, just for like younger audience members and fans of the franchise as well. Again, they really mixed in everything from like books to the games to original ideas and changes here and there. I feel like it was all really well done. Lynn Moncrief did the cinematography for the movie. That was really good. I liked a lot of the POV shots. I liked a lot of the energetic shots. Again, the Jim Henson Puppet Company did the animatronics, and the only animatronic that couldn't be worn was Foxy. He was pretty much just a puppet. Bonnie, Chica, and Freddy were all able to have people inside them, as well as, you know, kind of like be controlled by robots and stuff like that. And again, apparently they moved on set by themselves, which is... It's always cool to see the Jim Henson Puppet Company getting more and more gigs. I really like puppets, and I like a lot of practical effects, so they did a wonderful job. And like pretty much every 5x5, I gotta get credit where credit is due, because that's the whole point of this series. Lighting, sound, everybody did a wonderful job. This movie sounds great. The music is great. It's amazing. It's lit very nicely. It's very colorful. There was a lot of art direction in here. The art directors and such did a very, very wonderful job, I would say. You pretty much get like this extremely heartfelt, you know, love letter to Five Nights at Freddy's fans. And again, for those who don't know anything about Five Nights at Freddy's, it's a feast for the eyes. You got a lot going on. I think my time is pretty much running out, but that was the critique side, and I feel like just on a technical level, a lot of things were done right. Again, my biggest critique would have been the horror aspect. This is more of a sibling drama or thriller, more so. And I would have loved to see more blood or just more, honestly, in my opinion, creepiness, because animatronics are creepy. I, again, would recommend any of the Five Nights at Freddy's VHS stuff. I'll link one in the description just so that people can check them out, because there's something inherently creepy about animatronics just kind of being there, you know? And I don't feel like that was utilized to its fullest advantage, even less so the blood and the gore and the guts, but that would have to be toned down because it's a PG-13 and not an R. And I feel like it could have benefited a lot from that, but there will be more movies, as we do know this. Rumors online saying that maybe there could be 3 more, but at the moment, we pretty much think that there will just be a trilogy. I'll end this critique by saying that Springtrap, whenever he does arrive, because this is pretty much just Spring Bonnie, I would love to see Matthew Lillard again. I would love to see some more gory stuff, and I would most definitely like to see a return to, well, maybe finishing where exactly Mike's brother is, because we don't actually know. There's a lot of theories out there, but Michael's brother is kind of still gone. I mean, all the other kids kind of link up with a single animatronic, and I feel like Mike's brother still out there. I've heard a theory that it's Balloon Boy. I don't care for it. It's funny, though. But yeah, I wonder what they'll do with the sequels, and everything on a technical level and everything from a story perspective is quite alright. I feel like all the acting's also really good. Everybody did their part. It also just looked like a really fun set to be on. So that's it for this 5x5. I'm really glad to be back on the 5x5, and I will explain what a 5x5 is less and less, but technically I haven't made one of these in a year. There is a little bit of a change in the format, I guess. Maybe just the pacing of the video altogether. And again, I don't have a lot of subscribers or anybody who really knows what the hell a 5x5 is. 5-minute review, 5-minute critique. I'm glad if you stuck around this long anyways, and I will hope to see y'all again soon. I'll be back with some more stuff. I know that an acting analysis, which is probably my most popular video on my channel, an acting analysis will be the next major video. Although I do have a streaming video coming out this Friday. It's DVD. It's not a great video, but it's a video. You know, it's fun. Next acting analysis will be Nick Cage. Next 5x5, I have no idea. And yeah, there's just a lot of plans. So I will see y'all in a little... Hello? Did I run out of power? What time is it? End the video before I go. End the video before I die!